Thank you so much for your clarification.
Perfect. And so thank you again, Raphael, for your presentation. Good luck with your startup. We are, of course, from the TraWeBa network, we are always happy to support you. And yes, from the audience, if you have more questions, if you want to get in contact with Raphael, I
Thank
posted
you.
his LinkedIn profile in the chat. Just connect with him and keep discussing. And with this, it's time to switch over to the next speaker.
Yes. So when that startup will finally be built up and scale, I think we need competences that really understand how to industrialize the processes and really consider every aspect of what it needs to build such a facility. One of those experts is Stefan Keseberg, and with their team at MPC, so Munschek Process Consulting, they're exactly doing this job and having a really sound approach on tackling various processing steps and layouting factories and finding the best efficient solution, basically. But I don't want to present the company here myself, but want to leave Stefan the stage. So Stefan, you want to put up your presentation and explain a little bit about how you plan clean rooms and other things that are process related?
Yes, thank you, Simon. You see my screen?
Yes, that's clearly visible in presentation mode.
Okay, so thanks a lot, and thanks for invitation. So my name is Stefan from Munschek Process Consulting, and we are factory and clean room planners, and we have several projects with battery manufacturer and supplier as well, and so we know the entire supply chain very well. And most companies are facing some kind of paradigm shift because they have to meet high cleanliness requirements. And in our experience, there are many experts in specific areas, in production processes, but these are not considered holistically and do not to take into account the influence factor of clean room operations. And I think that's a big point because we know it from the shop floor. For example, the airlocks are too small and they are not designed for efficient in-feed process, or repackaging and cleanliness area have not been taken into account. And therefore, we have a big facing in the Gigafactory because we have to consider all essential interactions. So we have machines, we have environment, so the clean room itself, the logistics, the material flow, and also the personnel. And the classic solution are cleaning, repackaging, and additional processes. But all of this costs time, money, and efficiency. In addition, many companies in the automotive industry are guided by classic lean principles. And this is where conflict arises. At first glance, cleanliness zones and lean concepts seem to contradict each other. We think only by taking a holistic view and we know the key interactions, we can design processes scalable and can reduce cost for OPEX and CAPEX, for example. And even the best material flow concept is useless if the employees crosses the area and have not regulated processes. And that's a big point. And I have a few insights, for example, the packaging processes. The packaging process is some kind of a black hole because manufacturers demand something from the supplier without knowing what impact this will have on the processes. And why we need packaging processes, we want to avoid contamination and we want to have no particles in the clean room. And the idea is to remove each packaging layer in the dedicated zones. And which dedicated zones do we have? I show you now. So here you can see some kind of an ideal zoning concept. So we have separate workers and equipment in dedicated areas. So when we have a black area, it's a typical normal production without any cleanliness requirements. We have several workers and several forklift, for example, and we have clear separation to prevent cross-contamination. And in some cases, the holistic zoning concept is missing. So we have high operating costs, we have quality problems, and we have cross-contamination between the zones. And without these boundaries, you have to know it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So due to many interactions, it often remains unclear where the contamination comes from. So when we have no clear zoning concepts, it's very difficult. And this is just an example for material flow. However, all influence factors like personal flows, maintenance materials, spare parts, cleaning agents, had a big influence on airlock frequencies, on cycle time from the production, and the operational running of the clean room. And when we have a look at the holistic supply chain, it's very important that a clean supply chain must ensure that the battery components meet the agreed cleanliness requirements from the supplier production facility to the battery manufacturing machine. Otherwise, investing in a clean room offers no added value for both sides. And I think that's a big point. And I think this was some kind of insights and a teaser how we can plan processes for factory and for clean rooms. And the result should be smooth factory operations if we consider all subsystems and all interactions in the process. And I think we need European supply chains to protect this, because when we have a delivery from China with a transport route from 4 weeks, it's very critical for the product, for contamination, and the follow-up cost for cleaning can be very massive. So thank you for your time, and I'm here for your questions, and I hope you like the presentation. Thanks.
Yes, certainly I did, and I hope the audience as well. It's really, really impressive that there are so many things that you don't immediately consider, right? And what you just say, contamination is key, and especially in battery manufacturing. Maybe you can just explain in a word or a couple of words why. Like, what are you looking for in terms of contamination? Is it like metal particles? What is needed to be taken care of in terms of cleanliness?
First of all, you have to take into account the wood pellet or card box or anything else, and you have to remove this layer before you enter your battery production. And when you don't have a smart packaging concept, you have to clean material, you have to take care, then you don't have contamination in your clean room. That's a big point. And that's a fact that many companies don't know. And the experience is we built a gigafactory without this experience, without to know what about contamination, what about cleaning, for example. When we have a ramp up with a can, we spoke about 30 pallets per day. When we increase in serial production, we talk about 120 pallets per day. So it's a factor from 4. And when we don't have to know what we do when we have a contamination, it's a very increase of cost regarding production downtimes, storage cost, or anything else. And I think that's a big point that very much people don't know and have to take no eye on this.
Yeah, and this is then where you start to search for the needle in the hay when you have a process set up or a factory, a facility where you don't know exactly like who is doing what when and what are the defined processes, that you then really have to search for, okay, where could this contamination come from? And so you're opting, as I understood, for planning this upfront, planning this through, and then also building up the factory with a clear structure in mind, with a clear cleanliness concept, that we have like quality right from the start. And maybe circling back to what those gigafactories are going through, this is also what they are struggling with right now. In general, right? This is a very critical part to really bring the cells up to quality, because also we just heard the presentation of Clemens, right? Coating is also key, and having a pristine coating also relies on really clean environments, which are dust-free, for example. And this is where Stefan's competence ties in. So, Stefan, thank you very much for outlining your competences. And if there is any question regarding factory planning and clean rooms, feel free to approach him. And yeah, so